Well, we are certainly confused enough. And one thing I should mention, oftentimes problems in philosophy are paradoxes. They're puzzles that need to be solved, puzzles that we need to find a solution for. And it's a good skill to learn in life, because many of the things you do, it is difficult to figure out exactly how you do them. Many things that you'll do professionally, whether you're a computer programmer having to figure out a problem, an engineer, whether you're a nurse who has a patient bleeding and have to figure out what is it that's going to stop the bleeding, what are the other problems that they have, whether you're a police officer trying to defuse a volatile situation, a situation that could blow up in your face, could have people injuring each other, lawyer, doctor. Virtually every job you have to be able to solve problems, and sometimes the problems are going to look just like this one, like there are no solutions. The intention in philosophy is this is going to sharpen I don't know if that's the intention, but it is going to sharpen your mind. I mean, the goal in philosophy is to try to solve the paradox. See, there's something, and you guys have to admit there's something absolutely crazy in what Meno is saying and what Socrates is responding. But notice what goes on, line 81, Meno says, "Well, doesn't this argument appear to you to be a good one, Socrates?" To which Socrates replies, "No." Right below that, "Can you say in what way?" In other words, Meno says, "Hey, well, what's wrong with it?" Socrates, "Yes, I can." Now, guys, if you thought this problem sounded strange, wait as we go through what Socrates has to say here. "Yes, I can. I have heard both men and women who are wise concerning divine matters." Divine, God, people who know God. They can say what's wrong with it. Saying what saying? That is, they had a saying? Socrates, "One that is true, as it seems to me, and fine." What is this, and who are those who say it? Now here it comes, and this is the weirdest thing. So you think by appealing to a prophet, Socrates, you're going to have an answer to this paradox? I mean, a few of you might think you have an answer, but the last thing you thought was that it was going to require quoting some prophet to get an answer. And I got to tell you, that isn't the way philosophy normally proceeds, going to the divine authority, the prophet, and answer. That might be an answer in religion, but certainly it's not one in philosophy. So let's see what else. He says, "Those who say it are those both priests and priestesses." Let's scroll up. "Who have," I will eventually get this to scroll up. "Who have made their concern to be able to give an account of their practices. And it is said by Pindar and by many others of the poets, as many as are divinely inspired." So somehow these prophets are going to answer. What they say is as follows: "But consider whether they seem to you to speak the truth. They say that the soul of man is immortal." The soul of man is immortal. "And at one time ends a life, what people call dying, and at another is born again, but never perishes. And that for this reason for this reason one must live one's entire life in the most pious way possible." And then he quotes a poem. Follows saying, "So, since the soul is immortal and has been born many times and has seen both the things here on earth and those in the underworld, and all things, there is nothing it has not learned. And here we are now. So there is nothing surprising in its being possible for it, the soul he's talking about, to recollect things concerning both excellence and other matters, seeing that it knew them before also. For since all nature is akin alike, since everything in nature is similar, and the soul has learned all things, nothing prevents it, if it has recollected one thing, what men call learning, from discovering all others, if one is courageous and does not weary of the search. So if we look really hard, we're going to recall it. And men call this learning. For the whole of searching and learning is recollection. So one should not be persuaded by the contentious, argumentative, the contentious, something that's going to cause a heated argument. For it would make us lazy, and is pleasant to hear those men who are soft, but this one makes men active and ready to search. Trusting that it is true, I am willing to search with you for what excellence is. Okay, so what's the answer? Reincarnation. We need reincarnation in order to figure out that we learn things. Very, very, very bizarre. As bizarre and as strange as you might have thought this paradox is, Socrates' answer is even stranger, telling you, no, there's a religious doctrine that there's an immortal soul, and you don't die, the body dies, and the soul gets born to someplace else, and the soul has known this stuff somehow or other. What do you guys think about this as an answer so far? You think, Meno's paradox, the paradox of inquiry, went away because there's an immortal soul? First of all, how many of you think that there is a soul at all, or that the soul is immortal? And what reasons do you have for thinking that? So on the face of it, and I have to tell you, this is not the way philosophy normally goes, and I think we're going to see this is not really the answer. Well, we certainly hope it's not the answer that Socrates is getting at, although this belief was very common in the ancient world. Standard belief in the ancient world. There's an immortal soul. In the Greek world, after you die, the soul goes down to Hades. You have to cross the river Styx. They give you guys know the mythology probably better than me. But that's why that's what's wrong with the paradox. And all you could say is, whoa. That is not much of an answer, is it? There better be more to it. And remember, Professor Annis told us that we're going to be talking about, we're going to be going through an example, which I think is going to come up right after this. But right now, so do you think we have a solution? Maybe some of you think, gee, maybe I'm in the wrong course. This really doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But let's try to stick with it, and we'll see how Plato, in the mouth of Socrates, is going to defend this.